Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about how to speak your truth. In 2024, we live in society where cancel culture is a thing, and we are always self-censoring ourselves to please others and worry about other people's feelings, when in reality, we are holding back our truth, and it is what is killing us on the inside. So let's get right into it. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can get more info just like this moving forward. Speaking your truth. So in order to speak your truth, we have to know what is my truth in the first place. So to speak your truth, you have to get to what your truth is. And oftentimes, if we don't know what it is, it's simply what is in your head that you fail to speak about, that you are holding inside, all the words, all the thoughts, all the opinions that you're afraid to say out of being canceled or being judged or criticized or shamed or even hurting someone's feelings. And so it often is a result of fear, that we hold our truth back out of fear. And that's because we've often been conditioned to hold back out of fear. Growing up, we were told to be a good little girl or boy and to act in a certain way. And if we didn't and we spoke out, we got punished, we got abused, we got yelled at. And it led to us feeling like, I can't speak my truth because it's going to lead to these negative consequences. And so we have to undo this conditioning, because if we don't, we are not going to be living a life in our full authenticity and in our full alignment. And that means we're not going to live from a place of truth, which means we're going to attract people who don't live in a place of truth either, that lie to us and we lie to them. And that's not what healthy relationships are about. So often, many of us, through this fear, through this abuse, through the punishments, we often have learned how to not trust our own word, because we were told that your parents know what's right, your teachers know what's right, this other person know what's right. And so we have been made to believe that we can't even trust our own word. And so we have to undo all of this conditioning if we want to be able to speak our truth. And then when it comes down to it, when we are speaking our truth, we want to be able to seek to understand and seek the truth in the first place. Because in society right now, a lot of people are seeking to be right. They are seeking to be right to soothe their ego and to avoid feelings of being wrong, to avoid taking responsibility, and to avoid embarrassment. And instead, they will censor you, they will attack you personally in ways to avoid the conversation, avoid defending real facts, and be able to be right and avoid those negative feelings of being wrong and taking responsibility and embarrassment. And so a lot of us, because we know this happens in conversations, we often avoid the conversation. We avoid speaking our truth. We just hold it in because we don't want to deal with it. Because a lot of people out there right now, they seek to be outraged. They seek to be offended in everything that they hear. Well, that's wrong, that's this, that's that, and they'll use any buzzword to label you because you're not perfect, even though most of them aren't perfect either. And so do not fall into this behavior. Be a person who seeks to understand, who is not trying to label people and put people in boxes and find everything wrong, but instead be open-minded to understand and stop judging. Because that's a big reason why you don't open up and speak your truth, is because you are likely often judgmental of others' opinions. And so you worry about their own judgment. And therefore you hide your truth and you speak about things that you don't even believe in. And so lastly, you can observe these behaviors. We see them all the time. We see them through social media. And the more mindful you become of them, you recognize when you're falling into that conversation where someone isn't here to understand or hear your truth. They're just here to be outraged. So don't waste your time trying to explain something to someone who's not even here to understand. And so that leads me to whataboutisms, because when we have these conversations with people who are seeking to be outraged and seeking to avoid defending their opinions or defending what the truth is, they'll always go into this whataboutism, that when you are making a point and stating your opinion, someone will say, well, what about this? Well, what about them? Well, what about this instance? Well, what about this one time in a million times that this other thing happened? Instead of actually talking about the true topic at hand. It's a way of taking away from the conversation and taking away from your truth and your opinion and making you doubt yourself by discussing something else. It's oftentimes a straw man argument where we are take away from the main conversation and begin talking about something else to try and belittle you and take away from your point. And so as a result of knowing that there's these people out there who go into these whataboutisms, many of us tend to provide million disclaimers before we open up about something. So I just want you to know that, I care for everyone and I'm not here to offend everyone, and I just want to seek understanding, and we're trying to find the truth, and before even getting into what you're trying to talk about. We do this because we feel like we have to coddle everyone and we have to be perfect. Stop doing that. Stop falling into these behaviors. If you truly believe in your opinion and in your truth, then you can take responsibility and defend it after the fact. But people who want to nitpick your opinion and find all these little examples to take away from the actual depth of the conversation, that's a reflection of them, not on you. So don't fall into that, and be ready to take responsibility for what you are sharing. Because remember, most of those people are seeking to be outraged and not to understand. And so when you do speak, especially if you're in a relationship or you're speaking up to your family or friends or coworkers about something that's going on, about how you're feeling, about your truth, speak from a place of I. Because many of us, especially if we're people pleasers, we tend to avoid the truth and avoid conversations due to fear of conflict, fear of arguments, because we don't know how to effectively communicate. And what we've experienced in the past with these people or other people is speaking our truth led to conflict. And we try to avoid those feelings. So what we want to do is learn how to effectively communicate. And so in order to avoid any forms of defensiveness from another party, you want to be able to speak from a place of I, talking about you. I feel this. I need this. I see it this way because. It places all of it on you, all of the discussion on you and expressing yourself and how you feel, as opposed to saying, well, you do this and you're always saying this and you make me feel that way and they're always going like there. When you put it on other people, it almost sounds accusatory, that you're pushing someone into the corner and you're going to push them to be defensive because you're saying you do this, you do that, and it's really about you. You have to state how you feel so that it's more of a conversation so that the person can understand how you're feeling and they can reflect on it. But if you are constantly putting the blame on them through your words, you're making them feel defensive, which is going to cause an argument. So if you want to speak your truth and be heard, talk about it from a place of I, not a place of you or they or anyone else, because you get to speak on your lived experience so that others can understand your feelings. And lastly, when we are communicating our truth, oftentimes it's in a place where we are communicating to someone where maybe there's been a mistake, where maybe they broke a boundary, that they messed up. And you need to let them know your truth about how you're feeling as a result of those behaviors. And so when we do that, we have to recognize that we require consequences. That if we are going to speak our truth, we cannot just speak it, but if it's not respected and there is no agreement or understanding, there has to be consequences when someone breaks your respect or breaks your boundaries. It's not a punishment like most people think. Most people see consequences as always as a punishment. But in reality, when we create consequences for other people, it is a form of love and respect for yourself to correct the behavior that wasn't in agreement, to demand better for yourself, and to demand better of someone else. so that they can be a better person and respect mutually. So take away this idea of that a consequence is always a punishment. It's just a correction in behavior so that love and respect can be met, to hold the line on your boundaries and agreements. So I give an example of a 5-year-old at kindergarten. Say you had a kid and he's at kindergarten and he goes and kicks all the other kids in kindergarten for no reason. Well, if you do not create a consequence for him, that means he's not going to change his behavior. He's going to continue kicking kids because, hey, nothing happened, so I'm going to keep doing this. I enjoy it. And by not creating a consequence, you are enabling that bad behavior. You are tolerating it. And so we have to create that consequence so he learns, hey, you need to show respect and love towards your fellow students. And also by creating the consequence, you're correcting his behavior so he can be a better boy and become a better man. It's not a punishment. He might feel it's a punishment, but really it's a form of love for him and a form of love for those who are affected by his behavior. If we do not create consequences, we enable bad behavior. And don't be surprised when you're constantly upset and getting mad at people because they continue to break your boundaries and continue to disrespect people, respect you and others, because you won't speak your truth, because you won't create a consequence out of fear of conflict. And it's also, lastly, just a sign that when you create a consequence that you love and respect yourself. Because if you don't and you just tolerate it, it's a sign you don't love and respect yourself. And so if you are struggling to speak your truth and you want to be able to do these things, you want to be able to speak confidently and be in your fullest expression, to not worry about people's opinions or what conflict might come, or know how to effectively communicate your truth so that there is better understanding and less conflict, then some changes need to be made, because you don't want to hold in your truth. You don't want to hold these things in because it is not sustainable. It's going to lead you to be feeling broken down, feeling inauthentic, feeling like no one listens to you or respects you, because you're not living in alignment. You're not expressing yourself. And because of that, people are not going to know how to fully support you, and you're going to create inauthentic relationships. So if you want help gaining the confidence to assert yourself and assert your truth without fear, then let's talk about it. You can schedule a free consult call with me where I can help you understand why you don't speak your truth, get to the source of maybe some trauma you still hold on to, some emotional wounds such as rejection or abandonment, where maybe you've spoke your truth, you've been your authentic self in the past, and it wasn't met with love or kindness. It was met with arguments, abuse, negative consequences. And so you bring that fear-based trauma response with you in life, and thus you hold yourself back out of fear. And so if you feel that way, if you feel you need someone to support you and give you guidance on how you can open up, reach out to me. Let's schedule a call. Let's hop on and discuss what solutions we can create to help you move forward so that you can have healthy, authentic relationships. Because you will not figure this all out on your own, or if you try to, it will take a long time. Because when you try to speak your truth on your own and you don't have a support bone, there's going to be people who are upset with you and are disappointed and don't take it well, and you're going to feel like you're wrong again. And you're going to go back into your shell like I've done in the past, where I tried to open up and just felt wrong and wrong and wrong. When you have someone in your corner to go to support you and let you know what you're doing right and wrong without judging you, criticizing you, but just providing encouragement and love, that's where real healing happens. So if you're ready to make those changes, you can go to below this video and schedule a consult call, or just go to my Instagram and send me a message. Let me know what's going on, and we could start the conversation there and eventually get on a call to discuss this further. With that said, I hope this video is helpful, and I hope that you go out into the world with the confidence to begin speaking your truth, to confidently assert yourself. And if you don't, reach out and I'll provide you the help that you need. Thanks so much for being here. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this and want to get more info on how to live an empowered life and live in your truth. I'll see you soon. Take care.